All right. Merry Christmas Eve. It's already Christmas for some of you. I was a little delayed. Just had to take some medication. Been a little under the weather. I don't know if this is TMI, guys, but I just within the past 90 days had a health scare where I was told that if I didn't change my diet and lifestyle significantly, that I would have difficulty seeing the age of 50. I'm still very grateful for the position I'm in. As people are rolling in, I wanted to mention what we'd be giving away. At the conclusion of this, I wanted to give away this Marvel Bravo Star of the Show. This is a 9.5 Quad Plus. It was given to me before the first Pro Tour, and I actually played this specific Starvo at the first Pro Tour. It's obviously also signed on case by James White. And I told James that I would not do anything to monetize any of his items that were signed because they are meaningful to me. All right. Hopefully in the next 48 hours, I'll get answers that the US medical system hasn't been able to give me in the past 5 months. Pay a super luxury, ultra premium healthcare bill for family coverage, and they can't get me anything other than 2 to 4 months for a referral to a neurologist. Here I'm getting 70 plus tests in 48 hours. Hopefully it all goes well. Let's see. Hey FF fam, in from Taipei. I haven't been filming for a solid 3 to 4 weeks, and I'll explain why. Towards the end of the year, I had made an announcement that my health was not in a good place, and it had already been a really tough and dark time. Outside of one stream where I made a mention of it in passing, I wasn't asking for attention, asking for sympathy, but I just went through a lot. It's been a really tough 5 months. I'm not gonna be hyperbolic and say it was the worst period of my life or anything like that. It paled in comparison to my experiences of having to deal with litigation, fraud litigation placed against me, charged or alleged against me, no convictions, compared to dealing with the litigation plus my father's last days getting lung cancer. It was nothing. It wasn't even as tough as the days of having to take one of my largest business projects out from under COVID in the middle of ground zero in New York City. However, when you're in the middle of crisis, it's still very real to you, and hopefully there's something I can share to the community, to grown-ups, adults out there, entrepreneurs, from my own experiences, and just had some thoughts about healthcare in general and how you can protect yourself. I can say that probably past 2017, 2018, due to me learning how to overcome some of the largest adversity in my life, namely 7 figures plus in private equity debt, plus fraud litigation, defense fees. Sometimes defending costs more than charging, and I'm on both sides of that table all day long ever since 2015. Ever since that, I had gained a resilience, a resistance, and confidence to overcome what I thought was almost anything. I had been already doing well, but after 2018, 2019, I was doing really well. And I'll just say it up front. I probably got arrogant. I got way too cocky, and I did not put my health first. And when I say that, it's one thing to go have a nice, Michelin 3-star meal or even a 1 or 2-star meal. It's one thing to take a bunch of friends out and buy everybody Wagyu and eat more Wagyu or Toro or king crab than you can have. But it got to the point where in order to do business, in order to, I don't know whether it was about showing off or whether it was just, being gregarious, being friendly, being generous, and just celebrating, I had gotten to the point where I was eating out in that capacity 3 to 5 times a week, and it just became the norm. And what I didn't realize was there's a limit. Your body has a limit. And there's a point where once you go above that limit, there's a tax, there's a debt, there's a toll. And I learned it firsthand because in September of 2022, I was traveling to a business retreat with my executives. I was in Atlanta, I still remember the time. We're having way too much pasta, way too much steak, way too much Iberian ham bone Iberico, the black-footed, really nice ham. I was drinking, I was having dessert, and right after that meal, I had felt something was really, really off. I got back to the hotel, and within 30 minutes, my head was pounding. I had experienced a headache like I'd never had experienced before. It was a pounding, like just a splitting headache, like something was literally trying to get out from my head. And again, never had that level of pain before. The left side of my body started shutting down as if there was like a glut, like mud flowing through my veins instead of blood. And it was a near paralytic experience. I was with my colleagues. Oh my God, we got to drive to a CVS. I think I'm having some weird blood clot or there's something wrong with me, but it was very, very serious. It was very, very real. I tried to call up my primary care provider, but that individual, although I had him for 4 years, he wasn't responsive. He wasn't picking up phone calls. Tried him 3-4 times throughout the week, probably just flooded. His medical assistant, I was very friendly with her, Maria, very friendly with her in the past years, but she was just over flooded, probably too busy to return phone calls. It's the medical system has been crazy, and I'll get into that in a bit. I had to find a new primary care provider, went to the primary care provider, and she told me what I was experiencing was very, very real. If you're experiencing pins and needles and numbness, that's a big problem, and it was a big problem. However, I told her that the paralytic experience started from my left hand, and just to get what I thought would be answers, just to get a referral to a hand specialist, it took 4 weeks, I think 4 to 6 weeks. Split the difference. I probably met a hand specialist 5 weeks after I had already had to find a new primary care provider, after I had set up that appointment, after fit myself in, after I had gotten a blood test, blah, 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 found a hand specialist. I actually went to the hand specialist, and it was sitting around for 20 minutes, meeting the medical student of the hand specialist, and him telling me to do a couple of hand exercises, and he's like, oh, you're good, there's nothing structurally wrong with your hand. Then the actual doctor, comes in, says, oh, well, looks like everything's okay. It seems you're good. All right, on to the next thing. Go back to your primary care provider. That was literally like a 30-second conversation. Here's $300. You pay your 50 or 75 or whatever copay on health insurance, and that's it. And I just started getting bounced back and forth between my primary care provider and a couple referrals. There's a point where my primary care provider, she's well educated, she's a smart lady, she's, very nice. She had to refer me to a neurologist because I wasn't finding the right answers. And I was being told that the neurologists in New York City would take a 2 to 4 month delay. Like appointments were backed up 2 to 4 months. And mind you, I have probably the best general medical care that money can buy. I have a full platinum, gold, diamond, whatever the top tier is, family plan that, my main place of business subsidizes somewhere around like $3,800 to $4,000 a month. It's crazy. And they just keep putting you on this merry-go-round of going from primary care provider to referral to primary care provider to referral and no answers. And that's the actual reason why I flew halfway around the world to come to Taiwan. Because in this past week, literally just got out of the hospital like 48 hours ago. Within 48 hours, Monday and Tuesday, whole days, I had to stay over. They gave me about between 70 and 75 different tests, MRIs, like 10 different MRIs of different places within me, endoscopy, colonoscopy, CT scans, everything. There are all sorts of doctors They had a private chef prepare every single meal, nutritionist, dietitian, personal trainer, physical therapist, just to go through everything, all the little details. And I had gone through it all. And at the end of the test, I had even one-on-ones with probably close to 24 different doctors, radiologists, cardiologists, oncologists, everything. They had a doctor for everything, and everything was so well managed. And the craziest part was that healthcare cost $4,500. That was 1 month and 1 week worth of my medical insurance bills that I opt into to pay just to get that little circle jerk of primary care provider to referral. And all they want to do, and these companies, these medical insurance companies, which are owned by the big bads, the private equity and the asset management companies in the US, the BlackRocks, the Blackstones, the Bridgewaters, all those guys, a bunch of Bs, Vanguard, Fidelity. These guys, they don't care about my health. And I'm already in the ultra high net worth bracket. I'm not, Illuminati rich, but I can afford anything. They don't care about your health, the viewers, or any American's health. They care about making money and have you pay your thousands and thousands and thousands, medical insurance bills, your coverage plan every single month. And they care about giving you the least amount of coverage available. If anybody's over 35 and thinks that a plan like this, what I just mentioned about, different scans, radiology scans, MRI, CT scans, if that's important to you, to get a full, 360-degree checkup. And I mean, it was very, very involved. It was every possible, non-serious, non-invasive medical procedure to check out, do a status check on your body that was possible. It was very thorough. It cost me, again, like $4,500. I'm glad to share the details via Patreon or via email. But I went through all of that and I was just like, wow, people who don't know about Taiwan, don't know about my ancestral homeland, they think they mix it up with Thailand, they think it's part of China. It's definitely not part of China. They're here thinking I was gonna get worse care. But, there was a nice hotel-like accommodation, again, private chef, everything custom selected meal that was made ready for me. It was all included. And compare that to the type of treatment costs that my father was going through when he was going through cancer. He was, stage 4 lung cancer at Memorial Sloan Kettering. His hospital days cost him between $6,000 and $10,000. I know it was over $6,000. Some of it, very little of it, was subsidized by medical insurance, but a lot of experimental therapy, $6,000 to $10,000 per day. I took the steps of traveling halfway around the world for preventative care, and it cost me less than 1 day of cancer treatment. It's freaking crazy. As for the results, I'm not here for any sympathy. I'm not here to, whine about anything. It was scary during the time where I was not able to get answers, but on my one-on-one talks, all the doctors basically told me that, it's like, Sate, you fucked up. You fucked up your diet. You're not being responsible to your body. How much do you exercise? 7 days a week? Okay, great. Then it means that 4, 5, 6 months ago, when you weren't exercising 7 days a week and you weren't watching your diet, you did some really, really bad things. Just because you can eat well, just because you can eat the nicest foods in the world, doesn't mean you have to, and doesn't mean you should. And there was a lot of that talk, but they had found over a dozen growths in my body, and these were growths that were not in scans. I had taken similar type of scans in early 2019, right after the passing of my dad, because he had a mutation of lung cancer, and I was like, whoa, this might be hereditary, I might be at risk. And I literally had a clean bill of health. I had absolutely nothing. And now, 4 years later, 2.5 to 3 of those years, having, really bad diet, I had a dozen growths. 2 of the growths during the endoscopy, they literally just knocked me out. They were hitting me from both sides, giggity. But yeah, they had found 2 medium-sized growths in my stomach. They had conducted an operation. They took them out and they're doing a biopsy on it right now. But I'm being told that it's like, oh crap, you've got stuff in your lungs, you've got stuff in your throat, you've got stuff in your, rectum, you've got acid reflux, you've got your numbers are just off the charts in terms of like LPL. I'm not a doctor. I'm not claiming to be a medical specialist at all. I'm just sharing my experience here. Like some sort of non-healthy animal protein is spiking my cholesterol levels to something bad. I think it was like 230 LPL levels, whereas 30 to 100 is healthy. I'm over 200% higher, and that's not okay. So I just wanted to give you guys an update that I'm not suffering from anything terminal, thank fucking God. And it's such a breath of fresh air, sigh of relief. But I'm also saying that I was neglectful of my health, and I put myself in that position in the first place. So I have to take absolute maximum responsibility for my actions and be self-aware of that and make the right moves to not, repeat that again. I could obviously talk about exercise. I'm already exercising 30 to 45 minutes a day. The personal trainer said, a really, really good peak human probably exercises 7 to 10 hours per week. I want to move towards that direction, right? 6 months, I was 193 to 195 pounds. Now I'm in the mid 160s, and I still think I can lose about 15, 20 pounds and convert it into muscle. I did have one tip though. One of the main things that I had learned was, especially if you're not in the healthiest of states, 2 liters of water or half a gallon is generally not enough. I mean, you can't overdose on water. So one of the things that the doctors told me was drink more water, drink a lot more water. Just burn the impurities out of your body. Don't drink coffee, don't drink Starbucks, don't drink soda, don't drink any of that crap. I've already lowered my choices of beverage down to basically room temperature water and tea, room temperature tea. And I say room temperature because multiple doctors explained to me that from a thermonuclear dynamics, like a heat type of perspective, it just doesn't make sense for you to drink anything that is significantly lower than your body temperature, because your body is putting in strain to convert that temperature and make it around the temperature of your body, right? They're like, well, you're putting it in your body and it feels refreshing, but your body has to actually work. There's a toll on your body to convert that temperature from, call it 40, 45 degrees, ice chilled, up to, 98.6 degrees, because that's ultimately when it'll reach that steady state in your body. So why even put your body through that? Drink hot and get energy from your hot beverages like hot tea or hot water, or at least room temperature, and relieve your body from that tax.
Hey everyone, just wanted to let you know the details for entering our giveaway. Big shout out to White Rabbit for letting us extend a FaBled package to the community for Battle Hardened Metropole Ruhr. So the FaBled package includes entry into the Super Armory, the Battle Hardened, as well as the PTI event. And you also get a special playmat. And so if you would like to apply to enter, please email fablehunters@gmail.com with just a brief description of why you got into Flesh and Blood and why you hope to be able to attend the event. We're going to be closing submissions and picking a winner in the first week of May, so good luck to everybody.
I'm gonna drink a gallon of water. The reason why it became such a big issue of contention was by eating the bad things, I had developed a small kidney stone. Not enough to need to operate or deal with medically, but they're like, yo, just keep drinking a bunch of water to make sure there are not additional kidney stones and the same one doesn't get bigger. You might just pee it out, go through your system. Drink a lot of water. I wanted to give tips that had nothing to do with your income. So drinking water is absolutely free. Drinking green tea, using tea bags or just buying bottles of green tea, that beats, paying $8, $9, $10, whatever it is for a venti macchiato these days at Starbucks. Big thing, don't eat red meat. Don't eat as much red meat was the feedback I got. I'm probably gonna go on a Mediterranean diet, seafood, vegetables, chicken, very few carbs, because carbs are bad as well. Carbs add on fat and, they're just, they're not the best for you. I've already been lowering the carbs. It's all that weird protein from things like Wagyu, Wagyu meat, king crab, mollusks, oysters, scallops, clams, all that weird stuff, sea cucumbers. Just because you can eat everything under the sea doesn't mean you need to do it. Like, try it once or twice in your lifetime, maybe once a year. But going too hard, you're not impressing anybody. Not that I was trying to just be gregarious and, provide the best for my colleagues, for my employees, for my friends and family. And just being that recurring central person, being the host of all these meals that happened every single week, it was just not the best. But they said it was just more than that. Those same proteins that cause that unhealthy cholesterol, I think, the LPL cholesterol, that's present in pork, it's present in just good old beef, you could get it in hamburgers, and you just really need to cut down. A big thing that I have to give a shout out to the Anderson brothers, huge MTG collectors. They're also flesh and blood collectors actually as well. They had both seen me when I stopped by in Dallas, was doing some TCG transactions, and they're like, one's like, Saint, what's wrong with your teeth, man? Get your teeth checked. The other's like, Saint, I need you to make an appointment with me tomorrow. I'll clean your teeth. I'm a dental surgeon, but I will clean your teeth. As your friend, you need to stop what you're doing and make time for your teeth because they're messed up right now. And I didn't change my schedule because it was packed, traveling business and TCG business, real business and TCG business, but I had made time. It took me, a removal of wisdom tooth, so had teeth pulled, and 3 days of gum surgery because I had something like periodontitis, and it turns out that was like the gateway to diabetes, which was really bad as well, and that tied together with my diet. So the last thing I wanted to say to the Fab Fam in general was that big thing, Americans are all about excess. We eat way too much. It's way too unhealthy. I'm, a prime example of that as well, because in 3 years you eat out all the time, and that's why you end up with all these irregular growths. And I'm so thankful that I took my full medical tests when I could and where I could, because these 70+ tests were instrumental in me figuring out the code of how to get myself back on the right path. They were the catalyst for me realizing that I had a new lease on life. I've got a second chance. I get to go again, so to speak, although I'm way behind. I've got to work out 7 out of 7 days, probably 1 to 1.5 hours a day. I've got to cut out all the bad stuff, eat not as well. Hopefully at Pro Tour and wherever we go internationally, you guys aren't disappointed if we're not eating like crazy sashimi and crazy steaks. I might just have a salad. And that loops back to my point, which is, honestly, all of us can probably, if you're collecting TCGs and you're doing well for yourself, all of us can probably afford to reduce our general intake by 20 to 40%, and we wouldn't miss it. The reason why your body even has enough proteins or enough resources to create extra growths is because you're putting too much into your body. I'm not saying make yourself emaciated or create a calorie deficiency, like a significant calorie deficiency, but all of us could probably afford to cut down our consumption by at least 20%. Again, I'm the biggest example of that because I was probably eating 200% of what I was supposed to. I'm supposed to be sitting at a healthy 145, but there was a time earlier in the FaBled Hunters story arc that I was over 190 pounds, which it's not good. It was borderline morbidly obese, and some of the viewers wanted to be twats and they wanted to be mean and talk about, my, body image or my weight or whatnot. And that really did impact me. It was actually that wake-up call that made the biggest difference. I think there was 3 main points, which is the water intake, less red meat, and just eat less in general. And that doesn't cost you anything. This is just friendly advice. I just wanted to let the Fab Fam know that I appreciate all the people that reach out privately. Literally dozens and dozens of people reached out privately. In general, a lot of people just sent me some awesome things when I visited Taiwan, and I appreciate all of you. Not all of them knew that I was going through this health crisis, but it was really, really, really dark for almost all of those 5 months where I didn't have answers. I have the answers I'm looking for now. I feel like I've gotten a second chance. I got an action point. I get to go again, and I'm so happy. I'm so thankful for it, because there really is nothing more important than your health. J-Dubs himself told me, humans start at 1, and the achievements you do, the money you make, all that can be multiplicative. But if you don't have your health, you're at a 0. A 0 multiplied into anything is still 0. You still got absolutely nothing. And I had told him about, what I was going through in the early days, very, very early days, within a month or two of getting the details from the doctors, like what the hell's going on? I don't know. Well, let's get you a referral. And you still don't know. Let's get you a second referral. We still don't know. Let's get you a third referral. I mean, to be fair, they had told me that I was pre-diabetic, that I had high blood pressure, had high cholesterol, that XYZ markers were off the charts, but I was like, is there anything, any masses, any significant blood clots, anything like completely abnormal? It's like, I got that. That's the normal stuff. That's the stuff that mom used to bitch at me about, or anybody's mom would bitch at them about. But this was, I thought there was something really serious there. And it is serious. All these matters, all these things could have accumulated and had a stacking, piling on effect, and led to bigger growths. I saw the chart on my lungs, and there was, like green, which is really small, yellow, and like a Christmas tree. Stuff was getting lit up, and I'm like, none of that was there before, and I'm not a smoker. What the hell is going on? And again, it's just from consuming too much, consuming foods that are too rich, eating things that I probably have no business eating, and not drinking enough water, and just 2-3 months of neglect can really, really get your health in a sling. And hey, I'm not saying I'm completely okay. I hope to see everybody at the major events. I'm gonna try to make all the major events this year and in the coming years. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. I'll knock on wood later. But yeah, I've accumulated a lot of health debt, so to speak, as my Eastern-Western, dual class traditional Chinese medicine plus Western medicine doctor in New York has told me I've accumulated health debt, and I need to work much more than 6 months. 6 months is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm probably a full solid year behind of good health, good exercise, good diet. And yeah, again, shout out to the dental surgeons, my friends, the Andersons. They're about to slap the shit out of me because they had just seen me talking. They saw my teeth face to face, and they're like, you get that handled right now, because your teeth are already a problem. Something about the gums rotting and, bone structure decreasing and losing your teeth, but I got it handled. I got all of it handled. Drink more water, less red meat, eat less in general. You'll actually save money. So that's something that hopefully applies to everybody, or can apply to everybody. Just my thoughts. So I'm good. I'll live. I'll hit up majors. I'm happy to continue serving the flesh and blood community, serving TCGs, providing, informative and or thought-provoking discussion, doing what I do, heading back to the US, putting my foot up communism's ass, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, you just, do some financial stuff. I assure you, I do a lot more than financial stuff. I am in the very privileged but also sensitive position of having to defend against probably the highest volume and frequency of fraud, electronic fraud, against the highest and the most contentious target that's not getting along with us in the world, to the tune of about 80 billion in fraud attempts per year. And there's probably less than 5 people in the world that can do it. And I'm on the side of the red, white, and blue. Not the Taiwan red, white, and blue, the red, white, and blue that New York is part of. So I'm glad to get back to that. Glad to make more content, continue to meet folks. I hope to meet people soon at the Pro Tour in Baltimore, hoping to give some support to a North American team. Happy to sponsor a team, Team FaBled Runaways. That announcement should be coming soon, or might have already come out by the time this video is announced. And just doing more of what I've been doing to support the flesh and blood ecosystem. Hope this has been informative. Hope this is a video that you guys, learned something from. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, twiddle that notification button. I hope you like the view of the Freedom Square right behind me. Freedom! Far East Coast style. And we've got the Opera House and the National Theater. Glad to go back to the US and make more content. Appreciate it, everybody. Bye. Hours later, there were over 70 tests, 25 plus doctors. I mean, there's radiologists, cardiologists, ear, nose, throat, dentists, neurologists, oncologists, endocrinologists, personal trainer, physical therapist, nutritionist, clothes, shoes were provided to take home, chef cooked meals. All of this for less than 1 day's cancer treatment in New York. I was happy to get this appointment, but I'm even happier to get out of here. Not with a clean bill of health, far from, but thankfully nothing terminal, no immediate surgery necessary, further wake-up call. Important point is, they could have provided this to everybody in America, but they choose not to. Healthcare system in the US is truly broken.